Let's go, baby. What a bounce back win for your Cavaliers as we get revenge on the Miami Heat. No starters, no problem. Shout out my guy Craig Porter Jr. Shout out my bro Jared Olajuwon. Jared Allen. But if you watched tonight's game, you wouldn't know the difference. But seriously, y'all, what a win for your Cavaliers. Hashtag we believe, or is it hashtag all in? I don't know. What is that dumb saying that the Cavs fans have? I don't know. Who the hell cares? Honestly, I just found this shirt in the back of my closet, and I figured it'd be a good day to wear it because it was kind of an embarrassing loss for the Miami Heat as they fell to the Cavs G League team led by Thomas Bryant. I actually have this shirt from when I was in Cleveland, not on vacation. Don't worry, I'm not a sociopath. I don't vacation in Cleveland. Who the hell wants to go there? But my girlfriend does have some family there, and when we were visiting them a couple years ago, the Heat did play the Cavs, coincidentally. So I went to the game where actually Terry Rozier hit a 4-point play to win the game. That's back when Terry was hooping, so that lets y'all know how long ago that was. But anyway, shout out to FanDuel, the sponsor of today's video, where right now you can get the Orlando Magic to win the Southeast Division at plus 150. I know I've been telling y'all for the last few weeks to take the Heat on this bet because the odds were pretty juicy, and they might even get more juicy because today the Heat had a bad loss and the Orlando Magic kicked the Knicks' ass, who have actually been balling. But I'm sort of kidding here. I still like this bet for the Heat a lot, and maybe the odds do get a little bit better, so definitely keep an eye out on that. But I'm sitting here thinking how I want to do this post game or how I even feel about the game, right? Because the optimistic side of me says, hey, going into this stretch, you knew you weren't going to win both games against the Cavs, right? It's really hard to beat the same opponent twice in a row. So if you would have told me before these games that we would have split with them, I would have been happy, right? And then in totality, you're telling me that the Heat are 7-5 after a lot of people thought the Heat might have a rough start to the season because of the difficult strength of schedule. So you're sitting here a couple of games above 500. Tyler Hero hasn't played yet. He's only about a week from returning. You haven't had Bam Adebayo the last few games, and you were able to get a few wins. So that's what the optimistic side of me is saying, right? It's not all that bad. But the pessimistic side of me is saying, I really wanted to come into this video and claim that this is a different Heat team. Because today's game that the Heat lost is also a loss that the Heat would have had last year and the several years prior. How many times have the Heat gone to an opponent or played an opponent who was missing a bunch of starters and lost that game? Because it seems like it's happened a dozen times. It seems like they've had a wake-up call a dozen times. It's not a wake-up call if it keeps happening. I already saw 5 Reasons tweet that out. Oh, good wake-up call for the Miami Heat. It's not a wake-up call because they've been doing this. Do you remember when Amir Coffey dropped 30 points on your head twice? There was a season the Heat lost to the Clippers both games. They didn't have Kawhi and Paul George. It's like this type of thing has been happening time and time and time again. They've lost to the Bucks without Giannis multiple times, and it happens over and over. So had the Heat come into this game and actually got a win, a dominating one would have been nice, but you can't always expect a blowout. There's NBA players on the other side too. You knew a lot of Cavs end of rotation guys were going to play today, so they were going to try very hard, and it's difficult to blow a team out like that. But if you would have got a win, I would have came here and said, now I fully believe this is a different Miami Heat team. I could have said the same thing after last game, right? Because they beat a very difficult Cavs team, while being undermanned ourselves. But this is something that we've seen so many times, losing to this team. So as much as I don't want to get crazy and say all the feel good that we've had this year, and especially last game, I don't want to say it's ruined. It doesn't help that you lost this game, because you're continuing to show patterns that you've seen for the last several seasons. And not only losing to undermanned teams, but also giving up offensive rebounds. I'm praying every game this trend is going to dissipate. The Heat are going to improve on this. But no, they're giving up offensive rebounds at a historic rate. And at some point, that's going to catch up to you. I find it very difficult to believe you can even be an above 500 team, let alone a top 4 seed in the East, which is what I think the goal is the way this season started. But I find it very hard to believe that's possible if you are giving up this many offensive rebounds. I mean, the amount of shot attempts the other team is getting is very impossible to overcome. I don't know how the Heat have done it this year. Obviously, a lot of it is because of the pace and you're getting a lot more shots up yourself. But still, that's a bad sign. That's a very bad sign because the Cavs out there today, yeah, they had Jared Allen. You know, he's a beast. He had like 30 and 10 today. You knew he was going to do that to you. But they had Mike Tomlin's son out there gobbling up boards, making Nikola Jovic look like a child. Come on, man. I looked it up. That dude was feasting like he was 6'10", 240. He was 6'8", 210. Like, he was my height out there getting all these rebounds. It's crazy, man. Well, he's a little bit taller than me, but you know what I'm saying. You know, it's just the inconsistency, too, from a lot of you Heat guys is concerning, right? Because Jaime Jaquez had a bad game today. That's fine. He's had an amazing season. You know, you expect him to have a couple down performances, whatever. But Nikola Jovic looked unplayable. And that's coming after a game where he was pretty decent in the second half, terrible in the first half. And then that's coming after a game where he was pretty great the whole game. And then that's coming after a game where he was just dog water again, unplayable. The inconsistency from these guys that you are expecting big things from is a problem. Because you got a great Simone Fontecchio game today, right? You got another great Pelle Larsson game today. He's been playing well all season. But those are the guys you weren't really expecting this from. The guys that you needed these big jumps from was Khalil Ware, was Nikola Jovic. And you've seen jumps, you know, you've seen flashes here and there, but the consistency is just not good. I think Khalil Ware was good, though, today. Obviously, he was great last game with the 20 rebounds. But we know the games prior, he's been terrible. So that's the problem, right? Because you're sitting here as a Heat team who's playing all these guys. You're already going pretty deep into your rotation. But Tyler's coming back in about a week or so. Bam Adebayo was day-to-day, so you hope to have him back pretty soon. Maybe he's targeting the Warriors game, which I think is 3 games from now. Because the Heat got 2 games versus the Knicks coming up, which that team is big. So I'm very worried what they're going to do to us on the offensive glass. And then you got the Warriors game. Obviously, the Heat want to win that one because I don't think they mess with Jimmy Butler like that anymore. So obviously you want to get that one. So maybe you have Bam back then. So you're going to have to assimilate these guys back into the rotation, right? So who are you going to take out? Because if you're telling me you're going to take out Fontecchio, you know, replace his shooting with Tyler Hero's shooting, okay. But is Fontecchio not shooting like 50% from 3 this season? Is he not providing you solid defense? Today, he kind of got cooked a little bit. But in general, he's been playing so well, he's not deserving to lose his spot. Are you going to take out Pelle Larsson? Pelle Larsson's been one of the most consistent pieces you have. Offensively, defensively, there's a stretch in every single game where he completely shifts momentum because of his energy. So now it's like, okay, you're bringing Bam back. Are you going to sit down Jovic? You can't sit Jovic. He's one of your only bigs. You just gave him a $15 million a year extension, which kicks in a couple years. Now, I understand it doesn't kick in yet, but point is, you're looking at him as your future. But these guys just aren't performing. So they have a lot of questions coming up that need to get answered. And a lot of those questions are even more so arising because of today, which is a bad loss. I can't put it no other way about it. You know, I don't want to get crazy, like I said, because the record's still good. But at the end of the day, if we're sitting here saying this team has to have an aspiration of being a top 4 seed, these are the games you got to win. You cannot afford to lose these games versus a Cavs team that was below you in the standings. You're under the Knicks. The Knicks lost today. This is a chance to make some ground. You have to get these easy wins when they come to you because they're going to be few and far between. These games where you're outmatched, where you're actually superior on paper, those games are going to be few and far between. And to see this Heat team play down to the competition like they're something, like they're hot shit to play down to the competition, it's sad, man. It really is sad. And I don't want to say it's a completely effort thing because I think in the fourth quarter, which is when things really fell apart, I think they got good looks. They just couldn't hit. But in which, you know, if those shots hit, things are completely different. So it's not like they were forcing stuff, but you can tell the energy just wasn't what it usually is. Maybe they were tired after an emotional high last game. I do think that certainly is fair. But come on, man. Look at the guys you played today on the other team. Not a bunch of scrubs, for example, but I mean, we'll go through the names right here. So today, you had the Cavaliers starts. DeAndre Hunter, fine player. But Dean Wade, who hasn't really been a consistent part of the rotation. Jared Allen, who's only been playing about 20 minutes a night. Good player, though. He killed you today. Sam Merrill, only had 5 points. But Lonzo Ball, the guy ain't even healthy. Hasn't been healthy in 5 years. He played awesome. Craig Porter Jr., not a consistent part of the rotation. Killed you today. Larry Nance had some nice moments. Tyrese Proctor, the rookie, 2nd-round draft pick. Very good with Kentucky, right? He was on Kentucky last year. Or was it Duke? I don't know. One of those two. I think it was Duke, actually, right? Then he had some big shots in some of those games late. But still, 2nd-round pick. He cooked you late. Travers had some moments. Thomas Bryant, the guy that you let go, just completely outplayed everybody in his 12 minutes today. They played some guy named Where's the guy? Oh, we already said Travis. Yeah, Tomlin, 9.6 rebounds, was just doing whatever he wanted out there on the offensive glass. So that's I don't know. It's a game you shouldn't lose if you really want to be a contender. Not even a contender. If you want to be a top 4 seed, and maybe I was fooling to myself into thinking that the Heat could be a top 4 seed, but it's just, again, tonight gives me flashbacks of years past. I don't know. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. Let me know if you think I'm overreacting, or again, I'm not overreacting. There will never be I don't want to overreact. There will never be a one game thing that will change my entire outlook on a team. It will never just be one game, right? This was really the first bad loss that he'd have this year. So I'm not changing my opinion on the team. But then again, I almost feel like it's not just one game, because we've been seeing this one game for years, where they lose to these inferior teams. It's disappointing is all, because you were given a golden opportunity where you can really take advantage of the standings, and you just blew it. And you can't blow these golden opportunities. I wanted to come into this post game and call the Cavs soft as hell, because they rested Donovan Mitchell. They rested Evan Mobley. Darius Garland he might actually be injured with the toe, but they rested the other guys. And I was so ready to call them soft, because that's soft as hell what they did. What kind of competitor are you if you lose a very hard-fought game to Miami just 2 nights earlier, and then you rest the next game? As a competitor myself, I would be dying to get back out there and kick that team's ass who just beat me in overtime on a game winner. I'd be dying to get back out there. And these guys are resting? I understand they play tomorrow, but rest them on the second night of the back-to-back. Who rests on the first night of the back-to-back? They never do that. So I thought that was very soft by the Cavaliers. But hey, what does that say about us if we lost to their team's bench? What does that say about Miami? How tough are we? It was so obviously a trap game for the Heat, and they just weren't prepared. And that's why I'm disappointed. I'm thinking as soon as we found out everybody was out for the Cavs, I'm thinking just don't give them hope. Because when you give these inferior teams on paper hope, that's when they think they could stick around, and you find yourselves in usually a clutch game where they could pull away. Today, they just pulled away completely. They ended up damn near blowing out the Heat. And the Heat did have some double-digit leads there. I think they got up as high as 14 in the third quarter. And then they got killed in the fourth quarter, 37-19. I'm sorry, that's embarrassing. You can throw all the excuses in the book. You can't get outscored 37. You gave up 37 points in a quarter to a team that was led by, what's this guy's first name? Naquan Tomlin. They were led by Naquan Tomlin. Thomas Bryant out there screaming, can't get a freaking rebound because Jaime Jaquez was our center. And it all goes back to a personnel problem, as far as the guys on the team. What'd you expect going into the season with 3 big men? Especially when one of them is Nikola Jovic, soft as hell. Dude is 6'10", getting dominated by Tomlin, who's 2 inches shorter, 5 pounds less than him. Come on, Jovic. You're supposed to be the tough Serbian. All we heard is they put on all this weight. You've been in the weight room. For what? So you could jack up fadeaway threes like that? So when you're going coast to coast in transition, you could dump the ball off to somebody behind you instead of taking it strong to the rim like the 6'10" behemoth you are? He's soft, bro. He is soft. I'm very disappointed with Jovic this season, regardless of the 3 good games he has. That doesn't excuse the other 10 bad ones he's had. I don't know. I have a little bit of notes here. In the first quarter, the Heat were up 9 after 1. Wasn't the prettiest quarter, but hey, now up 9 points is up 9 points. I'm thinking keep it going, really close the door on any sort of late comeback for them or any chance of them even getting the game close. But the Cavs, they would end up going into the second quarter as the Heat would go double digits, but the Cavs would close the second quarter on a 15-4 run to tie. Norman Powell actually would end up having an and one layup at the end to put the Heat up 3. But still, the Heat were up 69-66 at half. You can't give up 66 points to that Cavs team. You just can't do it. The Heat were hitting baskets to, not completely go ice cold, but the Cavs were killing Miami on the offensive glass. That's when Craig Porter got going. Thomas Bryant, who I like, by the way. A lot of Heat fans didn't. I liked him. I thought he was a great energy big. I thought he was a Heat culture type guy. The Heat needs someone like him that could play 10 minutes a game and just muck it up and provides all his energy and just getting rebounds. I think Thomas Bryant does a good job of that. Did a good job of that today. And I also wrote that Jovic had a very rough start just in general. But going into the third quarter, man, the Heat were hooping. Davion Mitchell was super aggressive in that quarter. He had a few of those tough lefty scoop layups where he just blows past his defender and throws the ball high off the glass with his left hand. Very difficult shot. Just so impressed that he's able to hit that consistently. Was taking advantage of that Sam Merrill matchup, which I love to see. Khalil Ware had several nasty plays in this quarter, in the whole game. He had a wild putback dunk after a Davion Mitch. And then Pella Larson had a lob to Khalil Ware off a beautiful pass. It didn't even look like a pass. It looked like Pella lost the ball. But on the replay, you could tell he very clearly saw Ware wide open in the dunker spot. So did like a quick two-hand pass right to Ware at the rim. There was a play in the first quarter where Pella had another lob to Ware. Ware jumped above the backboard like with one hand and go gadget dunked it. Really fun to see those two young guys connect, because we know about the Jovic-Ware connection. We've seen the Hamid-Ware connection. So to continue to see with Pella too does get me a little bit excited about this team's future, because not only have your young guys played well in general, again, outside of really Jovic, because Ware's picked it up of late, but just the fact that they all seem pretty cohesive, that part does get me a little bit excited, because Pella's had a great season. Hamid's had a great season. Ware's is picking it up. We know it's more of a consistency on effort thing than talent thing. I think he's very talented, but I question the talent with Jovic, because for every great play he has a stupid ass play too. Which again, maybe if he can clean up the stupid stuff, maybe he can be a great player. But he's been a frustrating watch of late, because when it's ugly with him, it's ugly. But what else do we have in the third quarter? Yeah, Spoelstra challenged an out-of-bounds ball where Davion immediately, once the ref said Cavs ball, Davion started doing the finger thing. Spo trusted his guy. I'm not used to it, man. I just love the fact that Spo is trusting his players on these challenges. And for the most part, they've worked out well this year. So I want to credit Spo for finally using the challenge a little bit and also trusting his players. Larson had some other great moments. There's this one where he was driving baseline. He kind of got cut off, jumped in the air and did a one-hand rocket pass that he whipped baseline to Andrew Wiggins in the corner, who knocked down a three. And it's just like, if Luka had made that pass, ESPN would go crazy. They'd be slobbing on Luka's knob. You would see the replay a million times. Pella Larson does it, crickets. Shout out to Pella Larson, man. I'm a big fan of his. The Heat would play pretty well in that quarter to go up as much as 14, but late they had some really dumb turnovers, so they would only be up 4 at the end of the third quarter. Even this one, I think Craig Porter Jr. got a bucket, and then Fontecchio had a lackadaisical inbound. Craig Porter Jr. stealed to put it right back up. It's just like, that stuff is where your head's not in the game. Like I said, they missed some great shots late, but there was also a lot of moments where you could just tell they weren't locked in. That's one of them that comes to mind, but in the fourth quarter, the Cavs would take the lead pretty quickly with about 10 minutes to go. At the same time, the Cavs would be in the bonus the rest of the quarter. So, big free throw disparity, by the way. The Cavs today had, 31 free throws to Miami's 13. I don't care. I don't think officiating was bad one way or another, but it's like, you don't see Eric Spoelstra going crazy, getting 2 techs and throwing out the game, but last game, Kenny Atkinson was going nuts. And then his post game, the Heat had so many free throws. That's why I got kicked out. It's not right. It's not fair. I had to stick up for my team. Okay, did you notice that your team shot 68 3-pointers last game? You're not going to get to the free throw line as much when you shoot 68 threes. How about that, Kenny Atkinson? That guy's an idiot too. Anyways, that's when Tomlin was really going crazy. Jovic, I just wrote that he's so damn soft because he was getting killed. Then the Heat would end up bringing in Khalil Ware and Norman Powell, but by that point, the Heat couldn't hit a shot. They were ice cold. The Heat would go down 10 with about 5.5 minutes to go. There was no energy out there, and that was basically all she wrote, as the Heat would end up losing 130 to 116. 130 to that Cavs team, man. Running through the box score, Pella Larson, 9 points. Nobody on the Heat was crazy efficient. Well, I guess in the starter lineup, everybody was over 50% besides Pella. But Wiggins I thought was decent today. He's been solid all season. 17 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists. Khalil Ware, 15 and 13. So another double-double for him. He shot 6 of 7 today. So he was pretty good as well, efficient-wise. And then Norman Powell today got such a hot start. I think, doesn't he lead the league in first quarter points? Or he's top 5, something like that. What a breath of fresh air he is. He is awesome. Definition of a 3-level scorer. 27 points and 5 assists for him today. 10 of 18. And then Davion Mitchell, 16 points on 7 of 13 shooting. So, overall, I guess your starting lineup was pretty efficient. Your bench, not so much, which we know, of course, is usually led by Jaime Jaquez. He was 4 of 15 today. So 11 points on 15 shots. Nikola Jovic, 2 points on 1 of 6 shooting. He, again, did a little bit of everything. 2 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks. But, bro, 2 points is not acceptable. Without your starting center out there, no Bam Adebayo, you're giving us 2 points. There's a lot of games like that, Jovic. This isn't more than just a bad game. You know, Fontecchio today was fine, though, 13 points. And then Drew Smith, 6 points, 6 rebounds, and 2 assists. So between him and Davion, they only got you 6 assists today, and that was to 2 turnovers. So not as spectacular assist-to-turnover ratio as we've been seeing this year. We've been so used to the 14 assists, the 2 turnovers. You know, today they only the 6 assists. So not your best performance passing-wise from those 2 guys, but the body of work they've shown all season does allow me to believe that they will bounce back. But that's really all I got to say for this game. Let me know your thoughts down below. The Heat do have a couple of tough ones coming up where they play the New York Knicks, who, according to FanDuel, the Knicks are actually second to win the East. They're the second favorites, right under the Cavs. So if you can split with New York, you know, and then you walk out of these 4 games with a split between the 2 best teams in the East, according to FanDuel, again, not the worst thing in the world, especially if you start getting some of your guys back from Miami. But let me know what you think in the comments. Make sure to subscribe and like, because all your support is greatly appreciated. And I'll see you on the next video. Peace out, everyone.
Pull up in your city trying to get that dead face. Do it on my own, I don't need no dead weight. Had to kill him off, yeah, I need a head space. You know this homegrown bitch don't offend me.